Hello, this is Alice from BCHA Ignite. I hope you're well and staying safe. Today I'm here to talk to you about self-esteem. So what is self-esteem? Self-esteem is how you and I think and feel about ourselves. It's very different to having confidence in ourselves. Confidence is more about how we think and feel about our skills and abilities, but actually self-esteem is about what's in here. Am I worthy? Am I capable? Am I lovable? It's really how I feel about what's inside. And our self-esteem can be affected excuse me, throughout the day and throughout the whole of our life by lots of external factors. It can also be influenced internally. But what I'm going to do with you now is to help you recognise things that can affect our self-esteem negatively so that we can become very aware of them. And then at the end of this video I'm going to show you a fantastic tool that we can use to help build our own self-esteem so we're not relying on external factors. Excuse me. So first of all, with my assistant here Susan, we're going to look at how her self-esteem's been affected. So first of all, Susan here has poor boundaries. So she received a phone call this morning from her sister asking to borrow £50. So Susan's been saving really hard for quite some time to build up some money. She really doesn't want to lend that money, but she feels that she can't say no. So despite her better judgment, Susan lends that money to her sister, and that's just chipped a little bit away at her self-esteem. The second point, Susan's been using negative self-talk about herself. Excuse me. So, for example, Susan's been rushing around. She's a mum of 2 children. She's been dashing around the house all day and she's just lost her keys before she's meant to go out, and she's just spilled a bit of cup of coffee down her t-shirt. So she says to herself, "Oh God, I'm so clumsy. I'm always in a rush. I'm so stupid." And all of this negative self-talk is chipping away sort of subconsciously about how Susan feels about herself. So there goes another bit of her self-esteem. Susan also feels that she's stuck in a rut. She's stuck in her comfort zone. So she's a mum of 2 lovely children and she loves being a parent, but she does have aspirations for herself. In the future, she would like to work in an administrative role as an office worker and to build on her computer skills. But she's currently stuck in that rut. She knows there's opportunities out there, but she's staying where she is because she knows it's comfortable and she's not ready to take that next step. So she starts to feel bad about that. Even though she's kind of happy where she is, she does want more, and that's playing on her mind. So again, it's knocking on her self-esteem. Next, Susan's been surfing Facebook. She's been sort of touching base with some of her old friends and she's just been going through her news feed, but she can't help but notice how lovely the homes and gardens are of some of her old friends. She notices they go on lots of holidays, drive fancy cars, and she has a touch of the green-eyed monster. She's comparing herself to them, looking at what they're doing with their families and their children, and she's feeling a bit deficient, and that's really bothering her. Also, when she drops the children off at school in the morning, she's comparing herself to the yummy mummies where they're all beautiful in the morning and she feels like she's just managed to drag herself out of bed. So that's chipping away at herself and how she feels about herself. So Susan then goes on about her business after she's dropped the eldest child at school, and she's queuing for the bus. But then a teenager comes pushing into the queue and Susan doesn't say anything. She keeps it to herself. She doesn't speak up. Maybe she's fearful, but for the rest of that bus journey it's really nagging her, and all throughout the day she really wishes she'd said something. It's really grinding her goat. So again, her self-esteem has been affected. Next of all, she gets to the supermarket and she's got her toddler in the trolley and she wants to get down the aisle, but there's 2 families having a chit chat and they're taking up the aisle and she can't get past, and she says excuse me, but they obviously haven't heard her. So in the end she sort of like pushes her way through and she says, "Oh, I'm sorry." But then she realises she's just been apologising for something that isn't her fault, and again a bit more of her self-esteem gets knocked away. So by this point It's only 10:30 in the morning, and you can just see how affected Susan's self-esteem has been. So what do we need to do? What does Susan need to do? What do we all need to do? We need to find ways to build our self-esteem and to be more resilient and to prevent our self-esteem from being knocked. So Susan's only been focusing on the negatives, and what she needs to do is to recognise all the positive things that have been happening in her life. So the fact that she's saved enough money to be able to lend it in the first place is such an achievement, especially when she's been on such a shoestring budget. Today actually was an accomplishment because it was the first time her eldest son managed to put his shoes on by himself, and she's managed to make 2 lovely breakfasts, 2 lovely lunches, she's done 2 loads of washing, she's got the shopping done, the bills paid, and none of those amazing things has she recognised today. So what we need to do, and what Susan needs to do, is to have some protected time, for example 2 or 3 minutes at the end of the day, just to focus on all the good stuff that's been happening and write it down. And this is what we call our victory log. So we could have a notebook, we could use our phone notes, we could use a diary, or we can even download an app, for example something like Habit Ball, and we can document all the good stuff that happens, and then we can go back and review it every day to make ourselves feel good and start to recognise the positives. So I hope that information has been of use to you. You might recognise some of the things that have been happening to Susan, and then hopefully you can pull out those behaviours and really think about how you can go about changing them. I hope you use the victory log. Let us know how you're getting on. Take care, stay safe.